number one for even brain health is food. You cannot think of bad diet. And then you got to get up, moving and breathing to do that. And then you have to do some kind of brain fitness.
Listen to the whispers of the body before they become screams. Because when it screams, you have to leave everything aside and pay attention. And it takes a lot more to get it back to harmony.
Choose to do something different. Like you said, do something different. Choose to be happy.
The key message that we must have everybody remember is you are the CEO of your own health.
Knowledge applied is power. Knowledge itself is not power.
Welcome to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Please join us on our mission to better a billion brains. Enjoy the episode and remember to share it with your family and friends.
Welcome back to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Today we have a very special guest, someone who's an award-winning author, speaker, bestseller. She's a holistic wellness practitioner. She's an expert trained in both cutting-edge science and ancient wisdom. She's right in my wheelhouse. We've had some great conversations before getting on this call, and I think we're going to have a great call today. She's not only been trained in molecular science, which, think about that just a minute. We're going to talk about recipes for joy. We got someone who's a scientist, but she's also been trained on some special education at Harvard Medical School. She spent 20 years in a monastery. So if you're wondering, how do you put all these things together? We're going to delve really deep into it here because she's created her own proprietary methodology using lifestyle medicine. So, Dr. Bhatt, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure.
First of all, tell me a little bit about your journey, because this is kind of, usually if somebody becomes a scientist, you don't see them in a monastery. They're either in a monastery, they're in the science lab. They're not in both. So tell me what happened there.
I never expected, and I had never visited a monastery before, so I'm totally with you. I was loving science, highly left-brained and overachiever, loving to impact people, traveling around the world, working with Fortune 500 companies. And I just loved what I did because we were making breakthroughs in science, making technology, which was leading edge and, impacting lives because we were helping the US Army. And I never expected that when you continue working with your mind and you love intellectual achievement, that you can, and that's what happened to me, be totally disconnected from your body. And I think that's one of the big takeaways for anybody listening is that whatever you do, how much ever you love it, remember that you're a whole being, which is mind, body, and spirit, which at that point I was so oblivious because I was just enjoying the intellectual achievement. And I think what happened to me, and we go on willpower, right? You want to get there, you got to have this interview, you got to go and meet these people, you've got this deal to do. And we just have pills. So, I was getting flus and, colds and just going through it. You know how we all are, like achievers. We want to make things happen. And I think somewhere along the line, the challenge was where could I have stopped and listened to my body more and taken rest? Because none of us give value. We're in a Western culture where rest is really not valued. You got to be on the go 24/7, make things happen. And I think what happened was that I'm just sharing with you what happened. I had a flight one morning and I had to meet a CEO of a company in another country, and all the pills and everything absolutely could not let me get up. And I had to call my boss and ask him to make that flight. And I never thought that would be a change of my entire life. I never thought that this would be a complete turning point, right? We don't expect that. And my health kept going down. Nobody could figure it out. Of course, being that person who wants experts, I went to the best medical doctors, the best experts. And all they could say was, a little iron is less. But that wasn't enough. I was losing weight, and I'd become 80 pounds at one point, And sometimes you think that, you shouldn't wish, as women, we're all trying to become slimmer and thinner. And I remember clearly sitting one day that this is not the way I wanted to become thin. You know what I'm saying? So be careful what you think, right? Be careful what you wish for. Anyhow, I then had no option except to find any which way to get well. Remember, when you're going to the best doctors and nothing is coming out of it, they put me on antibiotics for 9 months straight. And you can imagine what happened. You become weaker and weaker. Today I know, but that time I didn't know because I just trusted an expert outside of me. So, anyhow, at that point, as a scientist, I would never have gone with something called alternate medicine. And I think that was a really softening part of my own brain, to be open to something that I didn't know. Be open to something that you've never experienced before, and you think you know it. You think that the way it should work. So I think that's a second thought for anybody listening, is be open to possibilities that are outside the realm of what we know. And as a scientist, we want to be just always in the left brain, got to look at data, got to look at everything. Anyhow, I then had to travel the world looking for alternate healing. I tried homeopathy. Many people may not know what that is. Came out of Germany, a fantastic naturopath there. And then I went to traditional Chinese medicine. So all of these are modalities. They take some time. So I'm just saying this fast, but it's a lot of time on each one of them. And then finally, my own country, India, I went to do Ayurveda. And Ayurveda, is our ancient thing. I didn't know it when I lived in India, but I went to the president's physician, the president of India, his physician, because I had to have the best, right? Anyway, none of these things totally worked out, and I didn't feel better. Then I had to go more deeper into alternate medicine, Reiki, acupressure, names I didn't even know, acupuncture. I tried light healing, pranic healing, so many things. And when none of these were working, you're broken down, you're helpless.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
there's a thing inside you that wants to get well because you deserve it. You know that something is there. So I don't know, out of desperation, we said, is it the water? Is it the air? Is it the pollution? What could it be? And I just went. I'd never visited this monastery before, but I just thought I'm going to go live there for a bit. Maybe it's the stress. And never I thought that I would be there for decades. Because of course we all thought that, just tomorrow I'm going to find someone who's going to help me. And the message here is, look at me saying, I'll find someone who will help me, because you're looking for an expert outside of yourself. So as I share my story, we'll talk about how I actually landed up finding that we are the leaders. We are the person, the CEO of our own life, the CEO of our own health. And so anyway, that's a long answer to tell you how I landed up in the monastery.
Sure. So as a scientist, I'm sure you're checking all the boxes, making sure everything was there, you got everything going. But then you found something that did work. Can you tell us a little bit about what you found that did work for you?
Oh my gosh. So remember now, many people may never have been to a monastery, so I'll just paint you a little picture. It's super quiet, and it's all about silence, and there's chanting and there's prayer. So I thought maybe I have to do more of that, right? So I was praying, which is of course a great anchor inside yourself. And I started learning meditation, coming from the Western mind, which is always go, go, go. It was quite a miracle. But believe me, that was the best gift that came to me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But
Yeah. As you were in the monastery, what gave you the epiphany to, hey, it's time to leave the monastery?
Yes.
Go right
Once
to what we're going to talk about in just a moment.
Yes. In the monastery, it was years and years, and I kept looking for, that tomorrow healing is going to happen. And just for information, lots of healers come to the monasteries because they're doing free service. So I met all kinds of people thinking, now I'm going to meet an expert. And when it didn't happen over and over, I am a very optimistic, happy person. And for me to get broken down, beaten down, getting hopeless and desperate, I reached the point where I thought, there's no meaning in this. There's no meaning in living like this. Because by then my family thought that, it's all in my head because all the experts were saying, so I remember clearly thinking, okay, I'm going to end it. But, like a true scientist, we're not going to do it just any which way. We have to do it painlessly. So I tried to find the chemical that would help me. Anyway, long story short is that somehow I found out as I kept researching that this chemical was not going to be 100% certain, right? And so I had to abandon that idea, and that made me feel more helpless and desperate. And here is where grace comes in. So I was walking one morning in the monastery, and early morning sunshine, the sunrise was happening. And I remember walking till this day. I remember that was a momentous day for me. I was walking, and the sun's rays were coming through a tree, and I looked up and I just thought, oh, wistfully, like, oh, what it would be to be happy. Because remember, happiness to me meant getting better, having energy, because I had chronic fatigue and 20, 30 other symptoms. And they were getting worse every day. And so happiness to me was associated with being energetic and happy like I am now. And so I just thought, oh my God, I wish I would be just happy. And then suddenly I remember seeing the sunrise, and I see the sun rays coming through the golden light, and my heart opened and my face had a smile. You know, it just, if you open your heart, your face starts smiling automatically. And suddenly, this is the grace, the moment that epiphany happens. And suddenly something inside me said, well, you can be happy. You can choose to be happy. And from that day, my life changed, Dr. Porter. I had a smile on my face because I suddenly saw the disconnect that I don't have to be happy only if I'm cured. This can go on and do its thing, whatever it is. Anyway, it's doing it for 20 years. But I can be happy, and that's such a gift, because happiness is a gift you give yourself. And from that day, I can tell you, my life changed. How did it change? I started just going about like, who cares about this healing? And you know how when you're going through, on a morning when you get up, when you're happy, like the lights are green at every intersection, you meet happy people, things work out, and we just think it's a chance. But on a day that you're like sort of crummy and sort of complaining, you know how nothing works out? Well, it's kind of your energy which is leading the way. And so when I had that moment of being happy, and then I don't know, in a few days, the thought came to me that, wait a minute, you're a scientist and you can figure this out. How did the ancient people cure themselves? So I started researching, and everything I researched said food is your medicine. And I thought, wait, you know, I had already become vegetarian, right? In the US, trying to get better, right? So I thought, I'm already vegetarian. But then as I researched more, I found there are so many ways one can change one's food. And also, food is, you know, just like you have pills and there are some chemicals that change your biochemistry. Food is full of phytochemicals, antioxidants, minerals, nutrients, which completely change your biochemistry. So anyway, I changed things, and in 3 months, I was way better, 85% better. And this was miraculous because I had so much energy. My allergies went away just by food. I had never ever dreamt, because as a scientist you're looking at data outside you, you're never exploring yourself. And I thought, oh my God, food is so powerful that all my allergies are gone. I had more energy, and I was just, you know, I had just a little 15%. Remember, there were so many symptoms of years and years of being sick. And that's when I picked up the courage, because now, you know, now I am like, I have the power. All these experts couldn't do this, and here I could do this. So, you know, you get courage for yourself. And so I empowered myself. I said, let me look at my blood test reports from so many years. What were the doctors seeing? So I saw all of them, and I am a scientist. I can see patterns. Pattern recognition is important. And Amazon had just started then, and I started ordering herbs and minerals and things that I thought would work for this. And voila, something was there that worked right away for me. And here I am. And before I could think, what am I going to do next? Because, you know, all these years I was just looking to get healed. And now it's like I have a great life. But before I could even think, what am I going to do next? The miraculous thing that happened is that people started hearing about it. You know, I'd gone to so many places, right? You go and meet all these sick people. So you're in a company of a lot of sick people. And people heard about it and started coming to me and saying, hey, can you help my girlfriend? She's got cysts in the ovaries and they've told her to do surgery. She doesn't want to do surgery. So I said, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to look at your food and we're going to look at your blood work. And so I created as time, and of course I helped everybody for free, and everybody started getting better in 3 months, which I didn't know was the time frame the body needs to heal itself if you have a single disease. So this became, you know, a lot of data because so many people came to me. So I started creating a framework which would help all these different diseases. They were all chronic diseases like high blood cholesterol, allergies, blood sugar high, blood pressure high, even breast cancer. So we had a protocol, and I have this 30-page assessment tells me everything. And I think a message I want to share with anybody listening is listen to the whispers of the body before they become screams. Because when it screams, you have to leave everything aside and pay attention. And it takes a lot more to get it back to harmony. So that's a long answer, but I hope it gave the feel for what happened.
Yeah, yeah. At BrainTap, we say, they've heard me say many times that number one for even brain health is food. You cannot think of bad diet. And then you got to get up, moving and breathing to do that. And then you have to do some kind of brain fitness. So this is great. I mean, Hippocrates also said that let food be thy medicine, right? So in Greece, they realized that, what we put into our bodies, a lot of people don't realize, just like you said, those pills go in and they interact. Those foods are going in and they're interacting and they're doing things.
Yes.
So when you put together the Recipe for Joy, the book, is this a series of recipes or is it a series of life lessons? How does this all work?
Beautiful, beautiful. What I really wanted to do, years and years, I saw so many patients. And what I wanted to do was put together a body of knowledge that anybody, anywhere in the world, can just follow everything that I've written. The first half of the book is every single thing that you need to do to reverse any chronic disease. Just have to follow it meticulously. I've given all the details about everything. Lifestyle medicine is a name for things which include nutrition, movement, like you said, and stress management, and sleep, and avoidance of risky substances, and social connection. But what I do is I add on to that, add on to this all that I learned, which was a lot of biohacking. At the monastery, what I did was biohacking, whether it was steam or sauna or sitting in nature or breath work and so many other modalities. So what I've done is, from my experience, I've created a customized protocol which I gear towards everybody who comes in, specific to them, how their body is responding. And when they follow this protocol, it's absolutely everything from getting up in the morning till the end. So it tells you everything, like, what exercise to do based on your body, what food to eat specifically, when to eat it, how to eat it, in what order to eat it, literally everything. And so some people just love it. They said, I'm really good at following. I don't have to put my brain into it. And they just follow it. And what happens is that their diseases get reversed. And like I said to you, it's a 12-week program, but by 10th week, we 100% see people having fantastic response, right? By the 10th week. So the first half of this book is all those things that you would want to know. Like even in food, I've cut it down to, what about what sugar? We all talk a lot about sugar and how that's spiking and causing insulin resistance. So I've talked about vegetables, fruits, water, whether you should be vegan, because there's lots of schools of thought, this, being vegan or non-vegetarian. So everything I've discussed there, and if everybody can read that first half, like literally your life will change. And then the second half, what I've given is recipes, which I have used for my clients for sustaining the changes that you have made. So they really go hand in hand with each other. And the only reason I named it Recipes for Joy, I could have called it Reverse Chronic Disease. But I really wanted people to see my journey and recognize that joy is a key part. It releases neurochemicals, in your body. And that, I don't think health is just having your blood markers right. I think health is a state of harmony of the mind, body, and spirit. And there is a joy which is coming out from your own being. And when you experience that, you're just, happy to be alive. Every moment is a gift.
Yeah. And where can people find more out about your program?
Oh, wonderful. I have a website, and that's www and my name, drmamtabhatt.com, drmamtabhatt.com. I'm sure you're going to list it at the end of this podcast. And so you can come and you can reach me there. I'm also on Instagram, and it's called @thejoyfulscientists. So I talk about many, many things, but it's really important because I was a very, very serious person. as a scientist. And what I learned was to relax. And I think what you're doing with BrainTap is fantastic, because that's the main way, is to make the neuroplasticity, your brain become open to new possibilities, brain become open to what is beyond your knowledge. And when you become open as a human being, whether it's to experiences or possibilities, your life changes. And I think that's the gift everybody owes to themselves.
Yeah. There was a book that my dad had us all read by Leo Buscaglia. He's a doctor out of California. It was about love, and he had a saying. He says, you need to have a crazy behavior, because then they give you greater leeway of behavior. If you're too strict and too narrow, because so many people are so serious, they don't realize that it's a game here. You got to learn how to play the game. There's rules.
Yeah.
You set most of those rules and boundaries, but our body has rules, right? We have to
Yeah.
do certain things. What are you finding that most people, before you can even assess them, or as you're assessing them, what do you find are some landmines that people do that maybe they could get started on right away before they even go to your website, just listening to podcasts? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Absolutely. I think today's biggest issue, this, is that sitting is the new smoking. All of us are on our devices, and we are sitting all day long, either working or whatever. And that's causing us, we need to go get out in nature. We need to get out, get the, how we say, get the first rays of the sun. If you can go out early in the morning and just look at the sun, like I did today, it will change your whole system, right? Your circadian rhythm. And so you'll get better sleep. People don't realize it. It's not only about sleep hygiene, it's about how you wake up. And you have a routine for how to wake up, right? And you give yourself, the first thing is gratitude. Get up and be happy just to be alive. I'm so grateful to be alive. Second, hydrate. Hydration is so important. Third, go and move, whether it's pickleball. So I play pickleball, and it's just fantastic. In half an hour, you're sweating like, buckets of sweat. And I know people have become really serious about pickleball, or do yoga. So I also teach yoga, and I have people who come for yoga, because I can see during that thing that if we're really tight in our mind, we're not going to be even flexible in our mind or in our body. So we've got to work on allowing flexibility. And landmine, sugar is a non-negotiable.
Right. Exactly. So when you think about having people do this, they don't realize that these little things you're talking about, a lot of people don't, but when you add them up, it becomes a very powerful force in their life. So can you tell us a little bit about it, maybe a person or two that you've helped, and what was happening in their life, and then when they started implementing these recipes, they started to transform?
Sure, absolutely. One of the ladies I would like to share, it's a good story because it's very prevalent right now, not talked a lot, is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Young women, I don't know if you're aware, especially software engineers all around the world, 50% of them have polycystic ovarian syndrome, where you don't get your periods. And so I had a lady who was 22, and she came, and she had dark circles under her eyes, acne, classic symptoms, right, of the disease. Didn't have her periods for 2 years. And of course, the first thing I always say, if you know better, you do better. So the first thing I do for every client is I educate them, and as soon as you educate them, they start realizing some of the things that they themselves can change, right? It's about how you wake up and how you move and how you're breathing. It's about self-awareness and about what you're eating. So anyway, I saw all her blood work, I saw everything. And of course, they're mostly people with nutrient deficiencies. Some minerals are insufficient. And so you find the right supplementation, targeted foods, the right movement. I encouraged her to go every 1 hour just outside for a few minutes, even if she was in New York, so in her balcony, and just breathe for a minute. That's it. I'm not asking much. So we created a program which worked for where she lived, what she did, her work. She was a consultant. And here's the exciting part. In 2 months, she got her periods. They came back. Her dark circles went away. Her hair was better. Her skin was better. She felt happier, because these people are also a little bit depressed. That's also part of that PCOS. So that's it makes me happy, happier than the person almost, because I feel that all those years that I was living that hopeless life, is cancelled when I help other people get better. So that's an example. Another example was a man who came to me with 20 years of insomnia. And here's the funny part, he was still having his sleeping pills. I said, when they're not working, why are you having them? And he said, it's a habit, just in case it works. So again, we evaluated assessed him, saw his blood work, went through the whole thing. And in his case, I gave him certain frequencies to listen to calm his mind down. As we talked more, I realized he has some emotional issues that he was hanging on to. And he didn't think that. And especially men, as you know, are not so, easy to work on emotional things. So anyway, we worked through that, changed his food, changed his movement. And in 3 months, he was sleeping. And so I remember asking him, so how do you sleep now? And he said, I don't know. I just put my head on the pillow and I get sleep, which is the normal way. So, in each case, we created a customized plan of food, of movement, of supplementation, and especially breath work. In his case, a lot more breath work and specific targeted breath work, which will work for him to calm his mind down. So I think all of these examples show us that it's mind, body, and spirit. And if you'd like to hear one more, there was a man with type 2 diabetes, HbA1c of 6.9, had been, on this for a long, long time. In his case, it's a funny story. His family was asking him to become a vegetarian. He loved to eat meat. And so the first thing he asked, are you going to make me vegan? I said, no, you want to eat meat? We'll work with that. So we created a program for him exactly with foods that he loves to eat, but made it in a way, as you know very well, timing is important of when you eat and how you eat. So we created a program with that, supplementation of the right things that were missing for him, and created movement specifically for his high blood sugar situation. And again, in his case, it took 5 months, but we were down to 5.4, and it was fantastic. So he was so happy because he had more energy. He never had to have any more medication. His doctor said no more medication. And it's really gratifying when that happens because you're looking to upgrade people's lives and make an impact. And each person has become happier and more joyful as a result of this. So it's not only the blood markers, it's also the quality of life.
Yeah. When you're thinking about this and giving them the recipes, it sounds like they don't have to do them all, but they have to do enough to make the needle move. If somebody was to buy the book, what would they get out of that? Would they get enough to get started, or do they need to take your course?
Oh, no, you can absolutely do every healing completely with the book. And the funny thing is that I actually had somebody recently call me for a consultation. And when I met her, she had the book. And I said, oh, so have you, gone through the book? And she said, here and there. So I understand, that's the other thing we have to be sensitive to as practitioners, that people want connection. People want a human connection. And if you're that person who can just read the book cover to cover and just follow it, fantastic. You can absolutely do it and you will find 100% results. But of course, if you want support and walk the journey, which many people want to do, I'd love to hold your hand and support you. And you can reach out to me in any of the channels. We have Facebook listed, Instagram listed, website listed, and I think there's somewhere a phone number too. Feel free to contact us. We're so delighted to help anyone anywhere in the world. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer. This is the main key. My message is suffering is done with. You don't have to suffer. It's easy, it's accessible, and we can help you get better in no time.
I know you're always looking for other things and new things because you reached out to me, and a lot of scientists, that's why we do the research, even though we've been doing it for 40 years, you still want to know where's the science, what's it really doing to the body, the physiology. Tell us a little bit about as a scientist, how do you look at this field? Like you were just at the biohacking conference with me.
Yes.
You saw a lot of things there. I mean, there were a lot of great things, a lot of great speakers.
Yes.
Things going on at Dave Asprey's event.
Yes.
But how do you evaluate those? Because if you do too many things, you don't do anything. Right?
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about your method.
Brilliant. First of all, I think a message to everybody here is to love to learn. I think learning goes with you till the moment you die because I love learning. I call myself like a vacuum pump for learning. I want to learn. So I was at the biohacking conference, as you said, and there were hundreds and hundreds of exhibitors, amazing, genius, creative minds, great technology. Um, However, as a scientist, I want to see your data. I want to see the clinical trials. I want to see double blind placebo controlled studies. And when I evaluate any company and any product, I look at the science first. If that meets my criteria, then the second thing I look at, Dr. Porter, is values. Remember, I have lived in a monastery, I have worked a lot on myself. Values are very important. I want to work with companies with high integrity, with high desire to serve people. And I want to give a shout out to you because you have an amazing product and a fantastic staff. It's really an honor and a pleasure to work with you because here's a company that really stands behind what they work on, and it can really help change minds. Remember, my whole story is about mind. So we have so much synergy here. And I would love to, we have discussed this already, that I'm creating a course which is going to include the BrainTap meditations and my food, movement, nutrition, my customized protocols. So all the people listening, if you're interested in that, it would be great. Dr. Porter will have it, a link there by the time this comes on air. And I would love to have all of you working on this amazing journey of making yourself a happy, healthy, vibrant human being, which you deserve to be while you're alive on this planet. And I think the thing that we want to say to everybody here is that when learning science is good and the values are good, that's a great match. And so I have to share with you that when I went there at the conference, I met the CEOs of these companies after I evaluated the papers, the research papers. And so I've partnered with, just about 5 or 6 companies which meet my criteria because values have to be aligned. And so I encourage everybody to look into that. And I guess the message that we want to convey to anybody who's listening, because you really should be, after listening to this podcast, I would like something, however little, to be upgraded in your life, however little. And the first message is, listen to the whispers of your body. So be in touch with your body, don't be disconnected. And the second thing is, remember to connect with nature. That's the easiest. It's free. Walk barefoot, do grounding. There are so many things. Be listening to the sounds, be sitting still. I think the third thing is opening yourself up to possibilities. Look at where you are closed, because we can never think of things outside our mind. So use BrainTap in that way to change the neural connections, right? And have neuroplasticity so you can be open to more and more possibility. Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. Remember, I was meditating, I was doing breath work, but what happened when I shifted to choose joy? Everything opened up. And the last thing I think I would say is that, be happy. You owe it to yourself. It's one life, live it well.
Right. Let's just review a little bit here so that they understand. First of all, I always tell people that whatever you're going through is you're incubating your superpower. Because you that's your kryptonite right now, but if you can turn your kryptonite into your fuel, then you've got a business. Then that's what you've done.
Yes.
So in my first book, I have a chapter that says I was blessed to be the son of an alcoholic, because I could have been poor me. I'm Irish, so the story of the Irishman is I should be have a beer in my hand while I'm doing this podcast, right? The reality is you can choose to do something different. Like you said, do something different. Choose to be happy. I was not a very happy kid myself until I realized my dad actually had me read a book called As Man Thinketh. And I read that. I had to read that every day in the summer, my 7th grade year. And I couldn't go outside till I told him how I was going to apply those principles, because he had a saying. He said, knowledge, and it's not his saying, but he used it a lot. He said, knowledge applied is power. Knowledge itself is not power. A lot of people think that there's a difference. In fact, the Maharishi said it best. He said there's transcendent knowledge and there's academic knowledge. Yes. So, so we need to think of that transcendent knowledge is where you take knowledge and becomes part of your subconscious, which just becomes a part of your action, your behavior. You wake up in the morning, like you said, you're happy. You make a decision that today is going to be a good day. It's not,
Yes.
and you'll hear that on my sessions where I say, hey, your feet hit the floor, your shoulders roll back, your chin rolls up, you do begin to smile because, hey, you're here.
Yes.
Wherever you're at,
Yeah.
I always tell people it's by divine appointment, right? There's no coincidence, there's no happenstance, whatever's going on there. And if something's troubling you, it's
Yes.
probably inside of you. It's not outside of you because everything's happening inside that 3-pound universe at some point or another.
Yes.
So as we do those things, so as you think about these recipes and putting them together, we're gonna list the book below so people can go and buy that book, get started on it. They can find out about your course. We're gonna have that listed below as well. Of course, if you're not a brain tapper, then we're gonna list a link down there so you can try a 14-day trial and try that as well. We actually have a session that at the biohacking conference, people kept telling me it was their favorite session. I have one called Biohacking Happiness. And so, you have to have an end result in mind.
Yes.
Whatever you're doing, if wellness, we now know wellness is not the absence of disease.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's what the medical community says.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? Your brain doesn't know what to do with that piece of information.
Yes.
But if wellness is being joyful, happy, and serving others, and there's actually a neurological need for us to be in connection and to serve people. So you mentioned that as well. So that's very good. So what other things have you found out in your journey, or we discussed? What would you like to reinforce before we wrap up the podcast today?
Yes, this is brilliant because I think the key message that we must have everybody remember is you are the CEO of your own health. You are it. Look at my journey. I kept looking for somebody else, right? And what happened? I was forced to be in charge. And when I saw how wonderful I felt to be empowered. So be the CEO of your own health. Listen to your body. Do not ignore the symptoms. Listen to your mind. What are your thoughts? They say, look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your thoughts and how are you feeling? How is your body feeling? And then take action. And we are here and we're going to create this amazing course in integrating BrainTap with what I'm doing. And this is going to be absolutely phenomenal for anybody who wants to take their life to the next level. So I hope that would be like the key message. What do you say?
Yes. Yeah, I think people also need to understand, like in recovery, because I did a lot with addictions and things, and I work with the Lucid community. They have a saying that I think is very true. Recovery is the solution. So when you think about that, means what books do you need to read, what courses you need to take.
Yes.
It's a learning thing. When we're learning and growing, and we realize it's not always about getting to a destination, and there's no graduation. These bodies are changing very rapidly, 50 million cells per second, right? So
absolutely. And I think the second thing that you mentioned, which I wanted to reinforce, very beautifully you said it, was it's not about knowing. It's about doing. So it's good if you know 5 things and do them rather than knowing 50 things and do none, right? So that's where it is. Implementation is everything. That's the miracle.
I remember my grandson, when he first started fishing, he was not happy. And because he wasn't catching. I said, they don't call it catching. They call it fishing. So there's a big difference here. So you have to kind of reframe your life and realize that when you're the CEO, remember that it's what your thoughts are bringing you. When you're eating that food, are you sending nourishing thoughts to that food?
Yes.
If you're in a state of stress, they now know that if we're in a parasympathetic state when we eat, we'll metabolize, digest, and use that food, which is really information for the body. So as the body absorbs that information as food, and then it transmits it out into the cells and nutrients and things like that. So it all works together. It's a synergy thing.
Absolutely.
I know we're gonna have you back on the podcast. We're gonna talk about the course, get people involved with that, and get them learning, because I like what I do with Quantum University. Actually, is we always teach them logically, because you got to have the logical knowledge. Your conscious mind needs to know that there's something important there to learn, but we really need to embody it. That's what we start doing. That's why all these lessons, we need to get it into the subconscious. As Bruce Lipton says, 95% of what controls our life is our subconscious, not our conscious mind.
Absolutely.
You can't just think yourself well. You've got to be well.
Yes.
And so you become what you want, and then like in physics, the strange attractor. You become the strange attractor that draws the right books, the right courses, the right information. This podcast.
Yes.
So I want to thank you, Dr. Bhatt, for being on the call. It's great to have you here. It's great to see you last weekend, and I'm sure we're going to see you around a lot.
Yes.
And of course, you're welcome to come here to our our research center here in New Bern and get your
I will.
sidekick on. We got a lot of toys here too. It looked like a nice toy room there, and so we can help you with that. So listeners, you know that I'm on a mission to better a billion brains, and if you've listened this far, you know it's your brain we're talking to. So what I want you to do is go below, click on the link, do some research on Dr. Bhatt, and find out if she has something for you. I'm sure she does. That's why you're listening this much. So learn, grow, develop, and then share with other people. Create the connection. If you like it, please like it, share it, get it to anybody you know that it could have been reversing all these chronic diseases. And I'm sure that you know somebody out there with what's happened since 2020. Seems like every other person has some chronic disease.
Yes.
So the backbone of it all is stress and dysfunctional thinking, and the nervous system is not regulated.
Yes.
So pick one thing that you're going to start doing. Do that one thing, master it, and go to the next thing. Just know that life is like the game of golf. No matter how good you do, you can still do better the next time. Because you can find that time you hit it in the rough, or you miss the putt, or whatever's going on. But don't beat yourself up. So one of the things that I always add into mine before we end the call is that at night I always say that's when you get the chance to add to your success rate. So celebrate the little joys, the little successes that you have during your day, because then you don't forget about them.
Yes.
Don't get bogged down, because sometimes life is hard and you're going through something right now. You're going through something that's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual right now.
Yeah.
Just know that that's the dark night of the soul. Every superhero has to go through it. Every one of them. And you're incubating your superpower. And you're looking for that one thing that's going to take your kryptonite and make it your fuel. And once you find that, you're going to have the joy like you see here with Dr. Bhatt, and you'll be able to smile and be happy and satisfied. So again, Dr. Bhatt, thanks for being on the podcast. We're going to have you back for sure. We're going to talk a little bit deeper, get into your mindset, because as you work with these students and clients that you have, I'm sure you have to work a lot as a psychologist, really.
Yes.
Their mind
Surprisingly true. Yes.
your mind gets tweaked, and it's really important that we stay focused on the end goal. The end goal is not a destination. The end goal is to be happy, be joyful, be healthy. It's the absence of health, the absence of illness is not health. Health is when you can do the things you want to do, when you want to do them, whenever you want to do them, without question.
Absolutely.
And I know that both you and I both want that for everyone listening. So, and there is a way to do that, no matter what's going on right now. And I love the point that you pointed out. It takes about 3 months for the biological system to
Yes.
catch up. But we're not biological systems. That's just one of our systems.
Yes.
We have a lot of systems of the body. So we have this innate intelligence that knows what to do, but it's doing exactly what you've asked it to do, even though it's not giving you the results that you consciously think you need, but the subconscious has been listening. And it could be something from mom, dad, brothers, sisters, preachers, and teachers. Who knows where it came from. So we got to clear out the clutter and get you focused on you. So again, we're out to better a billion brains. It's your brain we're listening to. Please click the links below, learn, develop, grow, and then give us some feedback on how you're doing in what's going on, because we can't help just one person. We have 8 billion people out there that need help right now.
Yes.
And until every one of them is healthy and happy and joyful and willing to get up and look at the sun, ground themselves, get moving and breathing, eating healthy foods, and taking time to restore. And that's one other thing we should really reinforce, because even Tom Brady, who's one of our big quarterbacks here, we work with him and when he works with his PT, they always say, for every 1 minute of exertion, you need 2 minutes of recovery. So think of your day. If your day is one big stress and you're not sleeping, you're not getting those 2 minutes of recovery, because sleep counts as part of that recovery. So if you can get that recovery in. So this is Dr. Patrick Porter with Dr. Bhatt, and thank you again for being on the call. We're going to have more brain fitness experiences for you. I'll bring my next guest on. You'll be able to learn, grow, and develop as you learn. It's all about learning. Get an insatiable desire to learn. And one thing that a mentor told me a long time ago that I always tell my students, don't believe anything that I say. Apply it. See if it works for you. Give it a really good run. Because anything worth doing well is worth doing terrible at first.
Yes.
So it's okay to fail. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to, if you don't stay on that diet or you don't eat this or that. But one thing is that every day you get to start new. It's a reboot. Just like starting your computer, you clear out all that old cache. Now you've got all this new memory, all this new experience, and you can learn ways to reframe that past experience so that it's a lesson learned.
Yes.
So we're out there working as hard as we can to help you. So we're going to ask you to do the other part. Apply
Yes,
yourself.
we hold hands. It's a joint project. I can share what you need to do, but you're the one that needs to do it, right? So, and as Dr. Porter, you said beautifully, mind is the most important. And remember, in a flash, your mind can change. Change always happens in a moment, but there's a lot that builds up before it, and that's what all we can do is to do our part, like you said, consistently, diligently, meditate every day, use the all the skills that Dr. Porter is providing, and then add what I'm adding to it and create a vibrant life. We're so looking forward to impacting millions of lives together, and I look forward to serving you all over the world.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so tune in to the next Brain Fitness podcast. And again, like and share this podcast. Get it out to your family, your friends, your coworkers. Even the people you don't like, maybe they'll become nicer when they're healthier and they feel good and emotionally balanced. So until next time, continue to meditate, relax, revitalize, and know that you're worth the time, the energy, and the effort it takes to be the best you today. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to better a billion brains. Follow at Dr. Patrick Porter on social media for updates, and remember to practice brain fitness every day.